Well, joining me now is Nilay Patel. He's editor-in-chief at The Verge. Amit Daryanani from Evercore ISI as well. Let's talk about it, guys. I mean, Nilay, every major technology has a profitable consumer product that defined it. We don't have that yet for AI. Does Apple have a better than average chance still of figuring it out?
I would argue that every big profitable consumer technology has a distribution associated with it. And Apple still has that advantage. All of these apps run on the iPhone. ChatGPT is expressed to people through an app on the iPhone. So Apple has the big advantage right now. I think the long-term view is, well, Jony Ive is going to join OpenAI and they're going to build a new hardware device and maybe remove that distribution advantage. And if they get there first, if they can make the AI compelling enough for people to buy something other than an iPhone, well, Apple's got a race to make the AI built into the iPhone equally compelling. And I really don't know if they can do that at this moment in time.
I mean, how much are these tariffs an issue when we're thinking longer term about the questions about Apple's innovation viability? I mean, if they hit Apple and they hit Samsung, there's nobody who's building smartphones in the U.S. right now. And arguably, well, not just arguably, it's true, nobody as profitable as Apple. So does a sinking tide lower all boats?
You know, that's a nice way to define it. Sinking tide, lowering all boats. Listen, tariffs are going to be a lot of headache. I think the biggest issue you have with Apple or anyone else that's making a hardware product is, the heightened uncertainty that you're causing to the whole ecosystem, right? Mathematically, it's fairly straightforward. It costs about $600 to make an iPhone, give or take. You put a 25% tariff, you might have to pay an extra $150. That is still cheaper, I think, to pay the 25% tariff than actually trying to do the human lift of shifting not just assembly to the U.S., which maybe by some process you could, but really moving the entire supply chain is where I think you end up with a lot of bottlenecks over here, right? And if you're Apple, I think the math might still be favorable with saying, I'll just pay the 25% tariff, ideally nothing, but I'll pay the 25% tariff, versus trying to shift the entire production and supply chain base to the U.S.
Right. Nilay, Jony Ive at Apple, and now at OpenAI. I guess there's the idea that that's potentially a game changer, that when you get the right person who used to be at Apple, you've got a challenger. But I remember when, John Rubinstein went to Palm, we've had numerous Apple veterans going other places, and they didn't come up with exactly the same kind of magic, at least from an investor perspective, that Apple had. Is this different?
It is, but I just want to say I spent the entire first Trump administration covering the promised Foxconn plant in my hometown of Mount Pleasant, Wisconsin. It's 2 minutes from the house I grew up in. It's not there. That land is a Microsoft data center now. It's never going to happen. And the carriers will actually eat the 25% cost and pass that on to your wireless bills. That's what's going to happen to the iPhone. Jony Ive at OpenAI, the really interesting thing is all of Ive's great products with Steve Jobs were built on core technical innovations and often user interface innovations. The iPod was the click wheel and the little Toshiba hard drive that John Rubinstein loves to take credit for finding, actually. The iPhone was the multi-touch screen. The iMac itself was the web, right? That was what made people buy an iMac instead of a Windows PC, was the web browser existed. And that core technological innovation was going to drive all these products forward. AI might be that thing, right? The fact that you can just talk to a computer and it can talk back to you is a very powerful user interface idea. We've seen so much excitement be driven around it. I'm not sure at OpenAI that it works all the way to build a new product around it. It feels like maybe Jony Ive thinks so. He certainly got paid a lot to say he thinks so. Sam Altman has to think so. He's raised a lot of money and he's got to deliver a company as big as Apple to pay back that investment. Mm-hmm. But all of us can see right now that the technology is a little brittle. It's incomplete. So if you made an iPod that doesn't always play music, or an iPhone that sometimes lies to you, you would have a problem. And okay. I don't know how Ive is going to overcome that problem with design.
Indeed. Amit, last word to you. What do you have to believe to think that Apple's dead money here?
For you to believe Apple's dead money, I think the worry people have is Apple simplistically re-rated on three things in the last 5 years: gross margins, services growing, and buybacks. If you're net bearish, you could sit and say gross margins may not improve with all the tariff issues. Services could stagnate right now with all the lawsuits between that Google has and Apple versus Epic. you undermine 2 of the 3 bullet points you had on a bull case. I think that's the worry people have right now. We think innovation is alive. We think the ecosystem is undervalued right now that Apple presents.